Hi there, welcome back to the Good News Broadcasting Association YouTube channel. My name's Tom, and today I'm going to be briefly reviewing this. This is the NET Thin Line Bible, recently released or produced by Thomas Nelson. Now, I don't know if you know anything about the NET Bible, but it is famous for having thousands and thousands of notes. And the reason that I wanted to get a physical copy of this Bible is because I use it quite often on my phone. I'm going to show you a still of my Bibles folder on my iPhone. And there you can probably see that basically I have the NASB, and that app is called Literal Word. Then I have the NET, the NET Bible, and then I have Young's Literal Translation. Those are really the only three apps that I use on my phone. And the NASB, because it is so literal and because you can have the Strong's numbers on it, so you can look at the Hebrew and the Greek. And the NET Bible, because it has thousands, I think they talk about like 62,000 notes explaining why they have translated the word there and why different translations use a different word there and why this text was chosen. And it's like an incredible resource for someone who is interested in textual criticism, someone who's interested in digging deeper into the scriptures and how we ended up with the Bibles that we've ended up with. It's an incredible resource, and amazing that we live in a world where you can download those type of apps for absolutely free. And that was one of the main reasons that the NET was founded, was because they wanted to have a translation that was available really mainly for online, and they could use it for all of their resources. So as far as I'm aware, there was a group of people that were working on a Bible study website, and they wanted to use a translation of the Bible. And when they looked into different translations, they realized how expensive it is to use large chunks of text from different Bible translations. So they looked at free Bibles, as in Bibles within the public domain, and really the main one that is available, there are a few, but the main one would be the King James Version. You can quote from the King James Version as much as you want. So they looked, this group of scholars, mainly from Dallas Theological Seminary, set out to try and use the King James on their website with all their study material there. I think it's bible.org. And they realized that they felt the King James was not adequate for what they needed, and they disagreed with various, obviously they disagreed with the underlying, particularly New Testament text, because Daniel Wallace, who's very much involved in it, he's one of the main proponents for the critical text, the most not the most recent, the oldest manuscripts, and particularly these two, Vaticanus and Sinaiticus. And so obviously the King James was used from the received text, the Textus Receptus. And so Dan Wallace, who was involved in it, obviously he felt that the underlying texts weren't right, and various translations, and also the archaic language. Obviously lots of people loved that language, but for Dan Wallace and his team, they didn't feel that that was right. And so they set about translating the NET, which is the first Bible that was, I think, critiqued online. They would like translate a book of the Bible, and then they'd put it on the internet and let people read it, not just scholars to critique it, but also just lay preachers and Bible teachers. I thought it was a really good idea. The reason I say all that is because you could think, why another translation? And I love Bibles and I love different translations. I use multiple translations in my prep. But I, like you, sometimes think, do we really need another translation? But that's a little bit of the history of, I think we can be more cynical and say, yes, sometimes people are producing translations to make money. But I think the history of the NET is that they wanted to use a translation, but it either cost too much money or was not a translation that they felt could be used appropriately today. Right, well, let's actually have a look at the Bible then. So as I say, that's the box, a beautiful looking box, and it's a clamshell box. Here it is. So it's one of these cloth overboard Bibles. I think it's about £18 for this on Amazon. It's got the little, can you see the little logo there, which is their little speech bubble? That's really nice, done in gold. You've got two ribbons, which is gold and read, really nicely done. Seems a lot of Bibles, even the cheaper Bibles now, are going for those fatter, longer ribbons, as if you've ever watched any Bible reviews, people get very passionate about. So having a look inside, it is a good, bold font, and I would say, I mean, I wonder if it says on the box what size. So it's 8 3/4 size font, but I have to say, often fonts seem smaller or larger by its, by the style. And for me, I find this a very comfortable font. I would find in other Bibles that are 8 or 9 font size, I would struggle to read them from any kind of distance or preach from. But this is completely fine and really strong, bold font. There is, as you can imagine, with a bolder font, there is some bleed through, but it is line matched, which is great. And I have to say, this Bible just feels nice in the hands. I love the cloth overboard. One of the issues is long term. It never stays looking like this. Basically, give it a year of use and it's gonna get a bit more battered. But then, battered Bibles are good as well, aren't they? But really, really lovely. I find the font is really easy on the eyes. The main thing that I think is going to be of interest is that what the NET Bible is famous for are all the notes. And this Bible does not feature any of, it's got a few textual notes, but the vast majority have been taken out so you can read the Bible. Now, I think this is a good idea because I've seen reviews of the full notes NET Bible and it makes the Bible ginormous. And so I'm not a fan of that. I think the best way to use the NET is to go online or download the app like I have. And if you really like the translation, buy something like this. The question, though, is without the notes, you're losing kind of the strongest plus for that translation. The translation notes, that's ultimately, I think, why most people use it. I'm not aware of any congregations who use the NET, really, but obviously I don't know all of them. So it'll be interesting to see. I don't think the NET is going to rival the NIV anytime soon. From my reading of it, I would say that the NET is similar to the NIV. At some points, a little bit more literal. I know we're nervous of that word. And sometimes slightly less. They've tried to, I think, use more poetic and kind of, I think they felt like the NIV was a little bit flat, and so they've tried to add in some kind of beautiful literary language, but still keep it very much more on the not thought for thought side, but just less woodenly literal. So I think it's a beautiful looking Bible. I have enjoyed using it, but I feel like I'm probably not going to use it in churches because I don't know any congregations that use it as their translation. This is something to use at home, but ultimately I'm probably going to use the app more because that has all the notes on it. But maybe you disagree. Maybe you think the full Bible with all the notes in is the way to go. Let me know what you think in the comments, but for now I'll leave it there. This is the NET Bible put together by a group of scholars, mainly from the Dallas Theological Seminary, but this is recently produced by Thomas Nelson, who have been doing a great job recently with their Bibles. So let me know what you think, and I'll see you in the next video.